The following is a presentation of the Black Hollywood Live Network, the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. Hollywood Redefined. From Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is Black Hollywood Live, Black Sports Weekly, featuring weekly in-depth interviews with some of today's most talked about athletes. Black Hollywood Live, Hollywood Redefined.
You're listening to Black Hollywood Live.
And now, the host of Black Hollywood Live, Black Sports Weekly.
Hey. Waiting for that beat to drop. Waiting for that beat to... Okay, we gonna do it a cappella. Come on. Get with it.
I actually like this song.
You like it?
Yeah.
Come on.
Cool.
All right, you ready, Marcus? We gonna snake it out. Snake it out. Snake it out. Snake it out. All right, we're going to stop snaking. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I promise you we do not do the snake at the beginning of every show, but we like to turn up. You are watching the very first episode of The Branded Athlete. So, yeah, that deserves an applause. Absolutely. So, this is our very first show. We thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm your host, Kevin John. You can find me on Twitter or at Instagram at HeyKevinJohn. But I can't do this by myself. Why is that? Because the beautiful young lady next to me is Miss Brittany. How you doing, Brittany?
I am fabulous, and you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at I am Britt Johnson.
Good. You look fabulous, too.
Thank you.
Absolutely. She is, man.
You look great.
She is outstanding. And speaking of great, we are blessed to have a great guest today. You may know him from, say, I don't know, the 49ers. He is a cornerback. He goes by the name of Marcus Cromartie.
Well, I'm glad to be here. You set the ball high, and now I got to go get it. So
Exactly. Kind of like a receiver or DB.
Yeah, we need
Catch
to
the ball at the
turn it up a
highest
little
point.
bit.
got to. I like your analogies already, so I think we'll have a good show.
Oh, man, it's going to be a great show. And why is it going to be a great show? Because it's Friday, you're watching, we're here having a good time, and we got Bruno Mars in the background. You got to have a good time with that, and it's still playing. All right, so with that being said, guys, let's just go ahead and get straight into the show. Like I said, this is the first show, so you may not know a whole lot about the people up here, particularly your host right here. So we're going to do a quick get-to-know-your-host session. Brittany,
I'm nervous.
You're nervous?
Yeah.
I'm ready to get to know
Good.
y'all.
What was that?
I'm ready to get to know you.
Oh, Marcus is ready to get to. Well, guess what, Marcus? We're actually going to ask you some questions as well.
Nice,
so
nice.
We're not going to be the only ones interrogated over here.
Right.
You watch out. All right. So, first things we're going to start off with. Obviously, this is a sports show. We love talking sports and teams. So, Brittany, I'm going to ask you your favorite NFL team.
If you follow me, you know I love the Dallas Cowboys. We're America's team. I know I'm going to get flack from you for saying this, but it's America's team. It's the best team in the world. I'm a Cowboys fan since I was born. Go Cowboys. And I love Jerry Jones. I really do.
You do?
I do.
You love him as a businessman or as a person?
He could be my baby daddy one day.
Ooh,
That's how much I love
Oh, I just got a real graphic image when you said
It's a
that.
good financial decision.
Yeah, exactly. You be set for life. You know that, right? That baby's trust fund will be through the roof.
And I can go to all the Cowboys games I want.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Nothing at all gold diggerish about that.
Share the disappointment with the rest of the fans.
I know, right? There you go.
Hey.
So speaking of disappointment, when was the last time the Cowboys actually before the season? When was the last time they won a playoff game? Hey, refresh my memory. I be forgetting
stuff.
stuff.
I don't like to talk about old stuff. It's 2015. We won a playoff game in 2015.
You guys did, yeah. And then you lost the next one. Ooh, yeah, unfortunate.
That was a catch. I'm sorry. Des Bryant, that was a catch, buddy. I'm with you all the way.
Yeah.
You know it was a catch.
Marcus,
you
was it a catch?
Two steps. It's a bad rule. It's a bad rule.
As a DB, I can never give the advantage to the receiver. They got enough advantages as it is. So.
And plus, you're supposed to control the ball possession to the ground. Control it.
No, the whole point of a catch is you take 2 steps. He was in bounds, and he made a football move by trying to reach into the end zone. They said that he was not making a football move. They said he was falling, but everybody knows how Des Bryant is. He's always reaching for that extra little yardage as you're supposed to as a receiver. So that was a bad call.
Well, speaking of bad calls, I think the reason the Cowboys won that game and got into the other one was because of a bad call in their game.
I always say
pass interference.
The football gods end up coming back to us. It was,
I always say if you don't want the referees to make the wrong call at the home field, make sure you get home field advantage. You know what I mean? If home field advantage solves everything, because the home team usually going to get the the
That's
majority
true.
of the calls.
Or just make sure that Jerry Jones pays the refs before the game, and therefore you'll get everything. Moving on to the next one. I love you, Brittany. Who is your favorite athlete?
Emmett Smith.
Emmett Smith. You can't go wrong there. All-time leading rusher. You know, broke the yard for most consecutive seasons with over 1,000 yards.
He's a great guy, too.
He's good.
Yeah.
He's a great
You know,
guy.
my favorite, number one reason why I love him is once he, you know, left Dallas and he played one season with the Cardinals, everyone was like, okay, you know, you beat Walter Payton's record, it's time to retire, you know. But he said, every time I get out on that field, I'm breaking the record all over again. So it was about him being his personal best, not competing against anybody else. So,
I like
A
that.
true professional.
yeah, yeah.
Now, real quick, to you, like obviously I'm not going to ask you your favorite NFL team. That's obvious. Maybe the one you play for.
Definitely.
But, you know, if you did say another team, I would have made sure I captured this image, sent it to TMZ, and
Right.
started a... But anyways, who's your favorite athlete? Growing up or now?
My favorite athlete, that's a good question. I think growing up, I want to say Michael Jordan, but obviously that's not really my time period per se. I've been a fan of LeBron for a long time.
Thank you for making me feel old.
Well,
All right.
You'll be surprised when I say this. One of my favorite athletes growing up was Tiger Woods, and I never played golf, but he dominated for such a long period of time. Like, how can you not like the dominance? But as a football player, I had grew up on like Michael Vick. You know what I mean? The excitement. I mean, this guy he used to run for like 10 yards every time he wanted to run. And as a Saints fan growing up, you know, growing up in New Orleans as a Saints fan, he used to break my heart every week, every time.
That's that
they played.
NFC South.
NFC South,
So,
right.
Yeah. And I agree with you. I think Michael Vick, honestly, to this day, is the most electrifying player that we've seen in the NFL. Hands down. Unprecedented. All right, moving on. Favorite sports movie?
Remember the Titans.
Oh, that was good.
I have so
That
many,
was
though.
good.
I really love, like, every sports movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me
You
too.
can never really go wrong. I used to like Friday Night Lights because I played Texas
Booby
football.
Miles
there you
is
go.
I
like,
played Texas football, so I'm like, that's Texas football. It's the fans, the school, just the school just falling in love with the football players. That's Texas
Yeah.
football. How can you not like it?
You know, I cry every time I watch that movie when Booby Miles is, like, going to the locker room to get all his stuff.
That's so
Goes
funny.
to the car, and he's like, what am I supposed to do without football?
Right?
And that's a lot of life for a lot of young kids. So
That's true.
What
How
about yours? You haven't told us
I know. That's because it's about you guys. They don't want to know about me. They're like, who is that guy taking up space over there? Good question. I actually have a tie. My two favorite sports movies of all time are Varsity Blues and The Sandlot. And
great choices.
yeah, exactly. I mean, Varsity Blues, I like that because
Hilarious.
Well, yeah, there was some very hilarious parts in it, but I think it does a good job of portraying kind of what it's like to play for in a small city, but for a football team that's pretty much everything to that town.
Right.
And Sandlot, because I mean, what's not to love about the Sandlot?
The Great Bambino.
The Great Bambino, yeah. Wait up, forever.
That's a classic line.
Classic line. All right, moving on. Speaking of classic, let's talk about a classic song. Your favorite song by any athlete. Well,
Okay, I will start. Prime time. Must be the money.
Oh,
yeah.
I love that song.
and that's our show for today. Thank you so much for watching. You could.
It's
Must
the
be the
best.
money.
You have to watch the music video with it though, because Dion has the suit with no shirt underneath, and he's doing the butterfly, and he has like girls in satin dresses around. It's the best. It's like he's the reason why people think what they think of athletes now was because of that video.
Brittany, your credibility on my scale just dropped from a 10 to a 3 with Primetime Must Be the Money.
That or the Shaq song, the Kazam.
I used to
song.
like that song.
Now you went to Kazam.
Kazam was a
Can we shut her mic off for the next 2 minutes,
but
please?
He likes them too. I'm
Kazam
not
was a
tripping
classic,
here.
but I think it's one of those movies that you watch when it happened. When the movie came out, you watch. Oh, it's a good movie. I think about watching now. I probably would think twice, but when Kazam was out, everybody was like,
Yeah, and Shaq really did hit like that little rap song with the
He
little
did.
kid.
He did.
Well, it's funny you say Shaq, because Shaq actually made my favorite song. Actually, most of my favorite songs come from Shaq, but his first one was off the Shaq Diesel, was called I Know I Got Skills. Love that song. Great song where he's talking about having skills. And then he made another song when he moved to LA called I Like Playing on the West Side, even though I like playing on the East Side. Yeah, Britt, okay.
I know that.
Yeah,
Okay.
You went back up to a 10 now, Britt. Wait up.
Wait, you gotta do one of these.
Wait up. Is this Must Be the Money? What? I don't know what that was. That sounded like that Jason Kidd song. Anyways, he did put out a song. Remember, it was called Basketball's Best Kept Secrets. Cedric Ceballos, Jason, a long time ago. But we
No,
established
I missed that one.
it was good. Marcus, do you have a favorite song by?
I actually got to agree. I like that Deion Sanders song.
Told
it was
you.
so funny.
Told
It was
you.
so funny
Thank you.
What's so
you.
funny is Deion Sanders kind of started this whole swag, like football players having swag.
Exactly.
And he used to bring it, man. You know, I mean, it's all about the money.
And you know what?
That's what it was about for Deion.
I 100% agree with you, because like this show, The Branded Athlete, you know, it's about athletes that have brands off, and I think Deion, like you said, is one of the first athletes that actually did have this prolific brand off of the field.
Yeah, most definitely.
You know, incredible guy, very talented, but must be the money. Ooh.
He still had hair on that video too. That's
He had a Jerry curl or a little
Yeah.
curl or something like
Yeah.
that. Oh man, that
little
was
finger waves or something.
yeah, finger waves. Yeah, the Missy Elliott finger waves.
He definitely put something in his hair.
He did. All right. Now, last question, icebreaker. Your least favorite athlete? I like how no one wants to answer this.
That's a good question.
My least favorite athlete. This is a tough question.
That is a tough question.
And it doesn't have to be someone you dislike. It could be somebody from the opposing team that always takes your team out in the playoffs, like a Michael Vick or something like that. It doesn't have to be necessarily
Yeah,
someone you
true.
hate. Just somebody that you're like, he's so good. Can't stand him.
Mine's probably, I don't like Bill Belichick. He's a coach, I know that, but I don't like him or anybody that plays for the Patriots.
Ooh, that's
so hard.
That was so. In other words, you don't like the Super Bowl champions.
Correct.
Ooh.
I think I'm just.
No, we appreciate your honesty. This is get to know our host. Fans are getting to know a lot about you.
Besides everyone else in the NFC East, the Patriots are my number one, least favorite team.
I gotta agree with you that Bill Belichick doesn't have one likable trait in his body.
He doesn't.
Other than winning.
Other than winning, right?
I mean, everybody likes
But I
winning.
mean, he's already had so many stuff happen with his legacy, with the whole cheating kind of stuff. I just don't.
Spygate, Deflategate, whatever else gate.
I don't respect him very much.
All right. Well, that's. I agree. I agree with you, Marcus.
You know what? She makes a good point. But I think for me personally, it's so crazy when you see when the Seahawks are at the top of their game right now. You just, as a 49ers fan, and as a fan and a player of the 49ers, it's hard to like any of their players. They're great players, but it's tough, man. You got Russell, who's known to beat us, and you got Marshawn Lynch and just that.
I didn't hear the biggest mouth on the Seahawks.
Richard Sherman.
Yeah.
I mean, he plays the same position, so you kind of understand where he's coming from. He does a great job in marketing himself, but yeah, I think more people don't like him because he's so good. I think if he was a loudmouth and
he was whacked.
then people wouldn't care. I think the fact that he's so good, it just gets under people's skin.
Yeah.
And it gets under my skin sometimes too. I know when they played us, he said a few things, but I mean, it's a game. It's
he actually picked off 2 interceptions this year against you guys.
On Thanksgiving, too.
On Thanksgiving, yeah.
On prime time. So
He's like, thanks for reminding us.
I know, right? Hey, of course, that's what I'm here to do.
He's making me relive the past.
Well, speaking of reliving the past, we're going to take a little trip back to the past. We're going to do our Black History tribute right now. As you know, we're in the month of February, which is Black History Month. And, I'd be remiss if I did not mention one of the best black quarterbacks, I wouldn't say of all time, but definitely one of the first black quarterbacks actually the first black quarterback to not only play in a Super Bowl, but to win a Super Bowl.
And MVP.
And MVP, absolutely. And he goes by the name of Doug Williams. Now, for those who don't know, Doug Williams, he actually, funny enough, this season where he took him to the Super Bowl, he was not the starter. And I know earlier today we were talking about quarterbacks who, there was an injury and then they got inserted into the lineup. Doug Williams actually was not a starter.
He only played 2 games that season during the regular season and lost both of those games.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. Which is even more crazy that he came in, lost the 2 games in the regular season, but the coach had enough confidence to start him for the biggest game in all of sports.
Right.
It's funny how that happens, right?
I kind of want to go back to where he was before the Super Bowl because he kind of started off, he was drafted in 78, and he kind of started his career, he played with the Bucks first, and out of 4 seasons, 3 of the seasons, he was went to the NFC Championship game, and then from there it was he's lowest paid. He was the only black quarterback starting, period, in the NFL at the time. So it was he went from you know, these seasons, whatever, doing great, and he like only made $120,000. He was like way
It's funny
below.
how you said only made 120.
Yeah,
I would take 120 right now.
But as a starting quarterback, I guess the minimum was $600,000.
Exactly.
So he was way lower than that. So he talks to the owner of the Bucks, and he's like, "Hey, I want to get paid more." The owner like says no. So then he ends up going to the United States Football League, which
The short-lived.
Right.
Yeah.
Lasted a
Yes,
few
NFL.
years. 86, he left, went back to the NFL, and then has had this amazing Super Bowl like win, which is like crazy to me.
Well, you know, the thing that's crazy is, you know, I love to hear those the backstories. It's like those Cinderella type
Right,
stories. You know, if you think of another quarterback, Kurt Warner, you know, who won a Super Bowl and was stocking shelves in Canada, played for the Canadian Football League a little bit, and then here you see him.
Yeah, you
know?
make that comeback. It's like you leave for a little bit, and then he comes back and does these like great things.
Well, just like the receiver from the Seahawks, Chris Matthews. They said he was at Foot Locker.
yeah, working at Foot Locker.
And it was so funny. There was a story, and it was like, you got to work out with they said his agents told him you got to work out with Seattle. You know what I mean? Here's the time you're playing leave. And he's like, I don't know if I can make it. I got to work at Foot Locker. And his agent said, make sure you're on that plane.
Right? About to say football, Foot Locker or football. You know, you make the decision.
Right, NFL or stocking shelves. So he made a good one.
He made a damn good one. Speaking of just damn good, you know, I again want to acknowledge Doug Williams. I salute you. First black quarterback to win a Super Bowl. At the time, threw for a record 350 yards in the Super Bowl, which was not broken until Kurt Warner actually did it about 20 years later. So, you know, we salute you, Doug Williams. Thank you for being a trailblazer and leading a path never taken.
Most definitely.
I do have a random fact. I'm big with
We
random
love random facts
okay.
here.
So I was like looking at that Super Bowl and then the next black quarterback to win, which was Russell Wilson last year. Both teams beat the Broncos.
Ooh.
It was both the Broncos team and Seahawks won last year 43-8. The other game was 42-10. So I'm big with numbers. It's
You are
very
great with
interesting.
numbers.
Yeah, I always have random facts, and that's like my random fact.
No, we love random facts here. And speaking of which, you know, they also took out future Hall of Fame quarterbacks. Doug Williams took out John Elway, in that Super Bowl. And last year, we know that Russell Wilson took out Peyton Manning.
So John Elway has lost 2 Super Bowls to 2 black quarterbacks.
Excuse me. You said John?
John Elway. I'm saying John Elway was now he's in the front office.
Oh, now I see what you're saying. Because I was about to say, hold on, when he was playing, I don't remember. You know, I was like, who did he?
Right.
He played the.
But they were both to the Broncos.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that is true. Well, speaking of black quarterbacks and speaking of the Seahawks, you know, why don't we get into it? Obviously, just this past Sunday was, as we know, the most biggest game in the world of sports. It was Super Bowl 49 that kicked off at University of Phoenix Stadium. And, you know, it had one of the most climatic, you know, improbable finishes, I think, in the history of the Super Bowl. So, you know, first things first, you know, Brittany, I know you were out there covering some events and things of that sort. What was your experience like?
I had so much fun. I actually only covered stuff for the Seahawks, so we did the Fan Fest. The owner for the Seahawks.
That's biased.
Yeah.
I'm not a Seahawks fan, though. I only covered for the Seahawks, though. But we did, like, a Fan Fest that the owner put on. It was, like, this free event. There was so many people there. Like, the 12th man was, like, for sure in the house. I did a bunch of games with them. They were actually really nice people. So I do like the Seahawks fans. I will say they have probably one of the best fan bases.
Who would be mean to you, though?
Good question. I agree,
true.
Marcus. All Brittany has to do is flash that smile, flip that hair, and I don't think anyone will.
You know what? One of the days I went out, I wore my Cowboys jersey. And they were still really nice to me. So I think that we beat them during the season, so at home. So I think they were like, oh, we love you guys.
And, you know, that is one thing I do have to say about or at least just a Super Bowl experience, whatever, because I was down there as well this weekend, and I have to say, excuse me, both franchises had really nice fans. Like, you know, everyone was really nice, very cordial. Take care. I'm like, praise God the Raiders didn't make the Super Bowl. Because, oh my goodness, you would have ex-cons running all over the place, starting a commotion and stuff. So, you know, big ups to the 12th man, big ups to Patriots fans. You guys were so nice. And cordial.
I had so much fun.
Now, Marcus, did you make it out to, or you were in Vegas?
I was in Vegas.
Which is another hot spot for Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't.
Especially when it comes to betting.
Didn't gamble on the game, but I probably should. My prediction was 28-20 Patriots. The final score was 28-24. I was pretty close, but you know what I mean, one play away from my prediction being wrong. So it's one of those things that it was a great game. Mm-hmm. It was a great game. There's a lot of people in Vegas. Still a lot of people in Vegas. A lot of people bet on the games. There's a lot of Patriots fans. You'd be surprised. The Patriots travel well.
Well, it's funny because they were talking about how in the actual stadium it was majority Seahawks fans. Like I heard it was like 70%,
Wow.
like Seahawks fans that were there. You know. And I understand
So
Arizona.
maybe Patriots fans just like to bet, so maybe they all went to Vegas.
That's true.
And
they've been in 4 Super Bowls in the last 10 years. They probably figure, we'll catch another one.
I know, right? We'll catch them next year. You know.
We'll catch them.
By the way, next year, just a little plug: the Super Bowl will be held in Santa Clara at Levi Stadium. So
Super Bowl 50 too.
Super Bowl 50.
That's going to be a big one.
That is true. That is the half-century mark. So that's going to be a big one. Who knows? Maybe the Niners will be playing in a Super Bowl, which will make them the first team that play at the home at their actual home for the Super Bowl. Who knows? That could be a prediction.
It should be.
It should be. Well, speaking of predictions, could anyone have predicted that final play? I mean, probably one of the most controversial calls in the history of sports. What was your guys' assessment of that final play?
I think it was I mean, I am not a coach, so I don't know what was going through his head, but I just think it was a bad call. It was second down. Why would you throw it when you have... And granted... The Patriots defense did a really good job about keeping beast mode on lock. He really didn't have a lot of like breakthrough runs during the game, so I will give him that. But it was on the 1 yard line. He can bust through a guy or two. He can, you know, it would take a bunch of guys to take him down in the first place. So
I think it was one of those things where it wasn't a bad call, but it might have been the wrong call. To be honest, that call has probably worked for them plenty of times during the season. I don't think enough people give the Patriots credit for how they covered the play. I know Brandon Browning did a great job of holding Baldwin up because how the play's supposed to be run is Baldwin's supposed to push Browning out and kind of rub the corner.
So it was a design play for that.
Design play. So it was kind of one of those things. It wasn't a bad call in my per se, but it was the wrong call. Obviously, the easy thing is to do is just to hand the ball off. But
yeah. I think they thought everyone was thinking they were going to do that, so maybe they were trying to do something different, but it didn't work for them.
And that was kind of my assessment of it. First of all, you got to realize that the Patriots, they were in a goal line stance. You know, when they came out, and I thought Pete Carroll was trying to catch him off guard, you know.
Yeah.
And, you know, the funny thing about plays like that is if it works, then all of a sudden Pete Carroll's a hero. Oh, wow, he caught him off guard with the pass. They weren't expecting that. They were anticipating Marshawn. But if it fails, then all of a sudden you get the backlash. So it's always both sides of the token there.
And people are so surprised, but that's kind of how Pete Carroll coaches. If you look at the first half, and he threw a fade ball with 6 seconds left in the game, 6 seconds left in the half, when most coaches probably would have just took a field goal. So Pete Carroll plays his, I'm gonna risk it all. I'm gonna bet all in, and if I win, I win. If I lose, I lose. But you know, what I mean, I'm not gonna have any regrets of what I do. And he still to this day, he has no regrets, and I don't blame him. I don't think it was a bad call, but I just think it was the wrong call.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was a very wrong call. But, you know, at the end of the day, it worked for him at USC, and apparently he's working for him in Seattle with the exception of this past Super Bowl. Now, also, this is just a random fact since we, I guess, bring up random facts. You know, Marshawn Lynch is actually only 1 of 5 from running the ball into the goal line from the 1 yard line. Only 1 of 5. So that's a 20% chance of him getting it in. So maybe Pete looked at the other 80% and said, you know what, we have a better probability throwing it.
Yeah, but then you still would have had 2 more downs.
That's very true.
That's true.
That is very true. Well, you know, speaking of downs and getting down, this is one of my favorite segments of the show. It's called the Memes of the Week. We're going to call it the memorable. We'll come up with a name. Maybe you tweet us out and help us out with that.
Yeah, tweet us what you want us to say.
Yeah, what you want us to say. But these are the memes of the week. Obviously, most of the memes, actually all of the memes, were considered around the Super Bowl. So we're going to flash up some of these memes and talk about some of them. And this actually was one of my favorites. As you can see, it is both Harry and I forgot the other guy.
So you're saying I have a chance.
So you're saying there's a chance. Thank you, Marcus, for bringing up the quote. But obviously, Jim Carrey and the other dude from Dumb and Dumber, and they are portrayed as Seattle's offensive coordinators for that bonehead last call.
I like that one.
Yeah, I like that one too. It's real.
Yeah,
silly.
that one's self-explanatory.
It kind of is.
Yeah.
Now this one is hilarious. Now, Marcus, we know this is before your time, but there was a show called The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, best show ever.
Thank you.
That's funny. I mean, I think I remember it.
Does anyone remember that episode though?
I definitely remember the episode when the time is running and Carlton takes the last second shot.
Yes.
Yeah, and he runs around at the ball.
And what's so funny about the episode is you really think it's going to go in slow mo.
It looks,
yeah.
It's good.
You're like, maybe he does know a little something.
He missed about 10 feet. So.
I know, it was bad. It was bad. But anyway, you see Carlton telling Will, I was going to win the game. And then, of course, you have Russell looking at Marshawn and saying the same thing, but Marshawn is not hearing him because he's like, you should have gave me the damn ball.
I'm just here so I don't get fined.
Amen to that, right? Hey, shoot. I mean, goodness gracious, that guy hates the media. Speaking of Marshawn Lynch, this is his face on that little boy. I've seen this meme a lot with the little boy.
This one I've seen the most, probably.
The most, but someone photoshopped Marshawn Lynch's head on the top of it.
People's Photoshop skills are probably better than
They're
their regular
so
jobs.
good.
I know, right?
So good.
That's hilarious, but someone want to read that? I can't see the whole thing from her.
So you're telling me we need 1 yard to win the Super Bowl, and you don't let me run it?
and he has that look on his face like, you know,
Like, what?
Come on. You know
Come
who
on,
I am?
bruh.
Come on, beast mode.
You know why I'm here.
Yeah, it is. But by the way, I think Marshawn Lynch would wear a shirt that's a little more cleaner than that. All right, now this guy, we didn't talk about him when we were talking about our Super Bowl breakdown enough, but Malcolm Butler was the unlikely hero in that game that picked off that last play, who all of a sudden skyrocketed to fame. And this is a meme where it's basically saying that he'll never again have to buy a drink in Boston.
Well, I hope not. He's like the most beloved guy in Patriot. He's probably gonna have a nice statue outside the locker room.
A statue?
Right.
Wow.
I mean, when you win a Super Bowl, it's kind of one of those things. I mean, they was 0 for 2 in the last 2 tries, so
Yep.
I know he's happy. Undrafted rookie too. Can you believe that? Kind of just made it. And when you do a play like that, you kind of forget about the rest of your career. You know, it's a Super Bowl hero now. So
my next question is he going to get a big contract coming up?
Unfortunately for him, he has 2 more years left on his contract. So,
all right. So Malcolm, just keep playing that well,
Right.
and then maybe in a couple of years we'll see. All right. So we're gonna go on to the next. Oh, looks like.
Oh yeah, that one was funny.
This one is hilarious. So as we all know, Pete Carroll actually was the coach of the New England Patriots back in '97 before he went back to college football. And, he started his mission there. So basically, this is just saying Pete Carroll begins his mission to win New England a championship. And then what? 18 years later, it says mission accomplished.
oh, wow, what a low blow.
And I mean, look at the squatting position he's in. It looks like he's squatting over a toilet or something.
You know what makes it okay is the fact that he won one already. I think if this was last year and this Super Bowl was last year and the script was flipped, I think it would be more of a big deal. I think people are gonna give Pete Carroll, you know what I mean? Like, he's already won 1. I mean, he should have 2, but
Yeah. Do you guys think that's the reason why the defensive coordinator left, because they lost? Or do you think he was going to leave anyway because he became the head coach of the
he's in Atlanta, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he probably would have left.
Well, I think a lot of times with, and I guess you can correct me on this, Marcus, but as much as I understand about the coaching thing, is after the last day of the regular season, a lot of coaches are open to interviews, even if they're still in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Because I remember it happened with, I think, Josh McDaniels, who's the offensive coordinator of the Patriots, right?
Used to be, yeah.
And he was with the Broncos, I believe, a few years ago, and they were talking to him during the playoff season. So I know a lot of while they're still coaching in the playoffs, they're still talking. But
I mean, it's one of those things where as soon as the season over with, the front office likes to get the new coaching staff finalized, and so. But it's one of those things where if the guy's still in the playoffs, then you kind of just got to work it under the table. So I think it's one of those things. I think he would have left anyway.
Yeah. Probably so.
Yeah,
I
mean, you're a head coach now. Not of a very good team, but
hey, the Falcons. No, remember 2 years ago, the Falcons made it to the NFC Championship. Okay,
he's telling us his tidbits because he's a Falcons fan.
That was 2 years ago, though.
But they did get beat by the Niners in the NFC Championship, which is where the Niners got on. But still, I still think Matt Ryan, Matty Ice. Anyways, we're not talking about them. Next one. This was kind of funny to me.
That one's funny.
Says, hey, Russell, you want another Super Bowl title? Nah, I'll pass. And clearly, I mean, it was just so funny the amount of memes I saw regarding that last play.
I can't talk bad about my bro Wilson because he went to Wisconsin. He was my quarterback in college, so I gotta support him a little bit. As much as I want to catch an interception from him, but I support him. I support him a little bit. Enough. Yeah, I support him enough. So he's a good guy. Go Wolfpack. Yeah,
I think our producer is from Wisconsin as well.
He said,
Wolfpack. Yeah, that's right. I'm tripping. Badgers, Wolfpack, not the same thing. So, yeah. Oh, yes, the always outspoken Richard Sherman, who, after this play was after the Seattle had scored on Darrelle Revis, I believe it was. It was, who was it that caught the
Baldwin.
Baldwin. Yeah. And Baldwin actually used the referee as a screen, so I don't know how legit that was, but Baldwin had caught the pass, so Richard Sherman was out there bragging to the cameras.
Yeah, he was saying, because it was number 24 that caught it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think, but Reelz had a good game though. He only gave it one catch all the game, so
exactly.
it's one of those things where that's why you don't say anything, because if you say something, it'll bite you in the butt when it comes back
The
around.
best was his face after, like, at that last. Oh my god!
It's funny. I was gonna choose one of those memes too, but we had too many.
His face was like.
It was priceless.
Classic.
It was priceless. Yeah.
Very animated guy.
Well, Sherman, let's hope it's not 4 more years until you guys make it back to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
We'll see. The Niners are hungry in that NFC.
We are.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Go Cowboys.
We need to get 6, man.
I love how you just interjected that there, Brittany. That was cute. All right. Well, speaking of the Niners, let's get in a little bit to our guest of the day,
Okay.
the Honorable
Thank you.
Marcus Cromartie. So, first I want to say, you come from a family whose last name is pretty much synonymous with the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
The Cromarties, like I say, are kind of like what the Jacksons were to music.
Right.
So many of you guys,
So many of
cousins
them.
and things of that sort. And, I'm just curious to you. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of competition between you guys. Which one of you guys are the best? Because most of you guys play defensive back as well.
Yeah, that's interesting too.
I'm a competitor at heart, so like, if I take a date, I won't even let her win at ping pong. It doesn't matter. We go to Dave and Buster, she won't win. But because I'm just so.
Do you get a second date?
I know, right?
That's brutal.
I'm just so competitive. So I love to say myself, but Antonio just has all the accolades, man. He's been to 3 Pro Bowls. He's been in the NFL for 19 years. So it's one of those things that he set the bar so high.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like us just trying to catch it. He's a good guy too, so he works hard. He deserves it.
What's the best advice he's ever given you?
Just to be focused. As a DB, we're going to get caught on. It's going to come a time where a guy's going to catch a ball. He might catch a couple, and you have to just keep coming back. You have to keep your confidence, man. And I think as a DB, that's the first thing that goes when you're having a tough day or a tough game. It's the first thing that goes, not your skills, but your confidence. So as long as your confidence is high, as long as your morale is high, I think you'll be successful.
No, that's good. That's good. I actually got a chance to interview Antonio this week, and he played in the Gridiron Celebrity Basketball game that I was at. Now, I think he had like 0 points, so God bless him that he knows
picked the
football
right
is
sport.
Yeah, exactly.
What's funny is he's one of the most athletic people. That, he can probably do a windmill dunk between his legs and all. He can jump pretty high. So that's surprising here. Maybe his shot was off or something, but
I'll say this: he was very athletic and great at running up and down the court. But when he got the ball, I don't know what happened. The skills may have disappeared.
He was just playing defense, maybe. Offense sells tickets, defense wins games. So
I like
very
that.
true.
Yeah.
That is
like
very
that.
true. Defense does win games. Just ask Malcolm Butler.
Yeah.
Now, I think he was also distracted too. He had his beautiful wife and his kids sitting in the front. So and I saw him going back and forth taking pictures with them throughout the game. So I don't know if maybe he was distracted.
too many selfies during the game.
Too many.
Right? Exactly. Now, it's funny. You had spoke earlier about Malcolm Butler being undrafted, and I know you were undrafted as well.
Yeah.
So I'm curious. Do you play with a chip on your shoulder, seeing that you're
most
undrafted?
definitely. I think if you don't play with a chip in your shoulder in general, that you won't be that successful in the NFL, because everybody's good. You get to the NFL, everybody's good. There's some players that separate themselves, but for the most part, that you ain't gonna have a huge disparity in talent. So you have to. What separates you is going to be like how you play. So you kind of have to go in there with an attitude as that you're getting cut. You got to go in the attitude. I might get cut today. So if you go in with that attitude, then you know that you're going to practice hard. You're going to play hard because it's your job, it's your livelihood. So
the first time you had found out that you had made the 53-man roster, what was your reaction?
Who'd you call first?
I think
Good question.
That's a great
Good
question.
question.
I think I called my dad first. It was a big moment in my life. So I called my parents first, called my dad, called my mom, and they was excited for me because at this point you really feel like I'm in the NFL. It's 330 million people in the United States. There's 1,696 players in the NFL. So it's one of those things where now I feel like I'm a 1 percentile. So it was definitely a blessing. I was definitely excited.
Yeah, and it just seems nowadays the undrafted players are becoming a lot more prolific. You look at Arian Foster, look at Victor Cruz. The list goes on and on.
It's definitely on. It's a lot of players.
Yeah. So I think sometimes do you believe that good players get overlooked come draft?
Most definitely. Just the same way as good players get overlooked in college and high school. I don't know, J.J. Watt, who's probably could have won
Defensive Player of the Year?
Yeah. He probably could have won MVP. I played with him in Wisconsin. He was a walk-on. So it's one of those things. Yeah, it's one of those things where you got to, there's going to be good players out there. You just got to find them.
Mm-hmm. Well, God bless that they found you.
Yeah, right.
That's a wonderful thing. Now, we talked about coaching changes and all that stuff earlier. Now, Santa Clara, Levi Stadium has a new head coach.
Right.
Or excuse me, the San Francisco 49ers have a head coach. And Jim Tossler, what do you? Tom Sula. That's what I said, right? Exactly. Excuse me, I'm a little parched today. So Tom Sula, I know, right? I have no water in here, but it's just a prop, by the way.
Just for looks.
Exactly, for looks. There we go.
That's why I'm here.
No.
Brittany is the eye candy because clearly I am not. All right, I think we established that earlier. So, anyways, Tom Sula is the new head coach. First of all, like I told you, I was at the Niners game, their very last game against Arizona, and I remember there was a lot of fans that were shouting Harbaugh in the stands. What was your reaction to Harbaugh's departure from there?
I kind of think, whenever a coach leaves, it's based on his family. Everybody has their families. Everybody has to kind of make a choice for themselves. Just as LeBron left to go to Cleveland, to Miami, to Cleveland, he has to do what's best for him and his family, and I think that's what Jim did.
LeBron, I don't know if it was necessarily best for his family to go to Miami. I think his family was quite taken care of in Cleveland, where he lived at.
Yeah. Right.
He went to Miami to win them rings, but I still respect him, though. Still respect him. But anyways, now I understand. Obviously, as we know, Harbaugh is now the coach at Michigan, the Wolverines, and we'll see what he does. Because the thing is, he was so successful with the franchise.
Yeah, he was. He went to what, three NFC championships in a row?
Yeah.
So I mean, it's one of those things where, a very good coach. I want to say I wish him the luck, but as a Badger, I can't. I don't know how much luck I can wish a Wolverine, but he's a good coach. We wish him the best of luck. But I think the new coach, Tom Sula gonna do great. He was a great D-line coach with us, and he's gonna bring a fiery passion about that he loves football, and we're gonna try to win it all this year.
I like that. Now, Brittany, speaking of coaches, Jason Garrett was recently given a contract extension at the end of the year. Do you think that was the right call for the Cowboys, or do you think they should have went looking in the pool?
I think he's been a great coach. I think the problem with Jason Garrett was too much was put on him too soon. Like when he first started, he originally was our offensive coordinator, and then he was offensive coordinator and head coach, and that was like his first basically big head coaching job. So it was like so much got put on him, and now that everything kind of got taken off and it was like just focus on being the head coach, I think the team has really kind of come into something. Like, even when Wade Phillips was there, the first year he was there, the Cowboys were like 2-14. So
they were atrocious.
There's a time where we need to kind of like build the team, and I think we've done that. Our last out of our last 4 picks, 3 of them were offensive line guys. That's what we needed. Everyone always blames Tony Romo, but it wasn't Tony Romo. We didn't have an offensive line. Just like the Redskins now, and you see what's been happening to their team, So it's like we've built that. We're building our team, and I think he's good. I like Jason Garrett.
They need you in the front office.
Yeah, exactly. Someone to make the decisions up there. Absolutely, I agree. And you got to realize, he's coming back with a great. Dallas went 12-4 this year, and they have the best running back in the league in DeMarco Murray, who is just freaking incredible.
Which he might be leaving. They said Jerry Jones said he can't keep Murray and Des Bryant. So
who would you keep?
Ooh.
That's a tough question. I'm a big Des Bryant fan, and I don't know. I think, and DeMarco Murray's a little bit older, so I think I would stick with Des.
What about you,
Des
Marcus?
has
Who
a
would you
lot
keep?
more career to have than. And DeMarco, this is his first healthy season. He's always injured, so I can't bet on his healthy life. I
know with running backs, they're kind of like by committee now. So few running backs, as you see in the draft, like it's hard for a running back to even get drafted in the first round. So
exactly,
it's one of those things that people I think are more. If you can find a great receiver, they'll probably take that over the great running back.
Yeah, well, I think the game's changed so much. It's more of a passing than running game. We don't have the Eric Dickersons and stuff that we used to have, right?
Well, he's busy
Marcus
doing other
Allens,
things.
we don't have
that example, but he was a beast on the field, though.
Yeah, the NFL is just not the same as far as running versus passing game. It's different.
You can't even touch the receivers nowadays.
And obviously, from a defensive back perspective, all of these flags and rules that they have on that, do you feel that that's a detriment to your game?
Probably. It's probably a detriment to my game, but it's not a detriment to the game. People like to see points. People like to see a lot of yards. So I think it's one of those things that the NFL sees, and it's not a problem because it's been successful. Like people love to see the 400-yard pass games. You know what I mean? Nobody wants to see a quarterback go for 110 yards. So
exactly, I
think it's one of those things that it's just something that you're going to have to adapt to and adjust and kind of adjust your game around it because it's not going anywhere. You know, they're going to throw the ball. Yeah. From now on, so
that's true. Plus, passing yards are a lot more sexier than rushing yards. I mean, passing game is sexy. All right.
Yeah.
And I mean that. Go ahead.
Unless you're beast mode, he
Even
has some pretty good.
Yeah, speaking of sexy, you know Marshawn Lynch posed nude in ESPN's Body magazine last year too. I didn't get it though. I was terrified. Did you? Did you see it, Brittany?
Well, I liked what was that? Prince Fielder. That was my favorite last year.
Brittany, we need to get your eyes checked. Okay, so moving on. Oh, good, Prince Fielder. I got to get that out of my mouth. So, who was the first NFL jerseys player you bought?
Oh, that's a good question.
Like as a kid.
No, it was a Steve McNair jersey.
Air McNair.
It was a Steve McNair.
Bless Steve McNair's heart too.
Peace, right?
Yeah, rest in peace.
Another black quarterback that actually made it to the Super Bowl. Steve McNair.
How can you not like Steve McNair? He seemed like he was one of those guys. Steve McNair and Donovan McNabb. I usually like Donovan McNabb because mine was in those commercials, the Campbell Soup commercials.
That Richard Sherman has now.
Yeah, exactly. But I used to like Steve McNair a lot, man. I had his jersey. I just remember that that baby blue jersey, that Tennessee jersey. I used to rock it all the time. Yeah.
He was a beast. That's a great one. That's a classic jersey. All right, what is your pregame ritual?
Oh, that's a good one.
Thank you. I tried hard on these questions. Go ahead.
First thing I do when I get to the stadium, I like to jog around the stadium. I like to feel like the stadium with nobody in there. So when it fills up and it's capacity at 80,000, I feel like I'm still there with nobody in there because you never want to let the game get too big. It's still a child's game. We're still playing football. The same game I played when I was in the park growing up, the same game I played in middle school, high school.
You're just getting big checks for it now.
You're just getting big checks, and there's a lot of people there. So you can't let the game get too big. At the end of the day, it's still football.
Now, what's on your playlist while you're running?
Ooh.
That's a good question. I like
Celine Dion.
Yeah, Celine Dion. What's the guy who sings
No, I have a friend that listens to Maxwell.
Dude, it's funny. When I was in college, before every play, I would listen to that Phil Collins, In the Air Tonight. There's something about that gets you motivated inside.
It starts off slow, and then the drums come.
Yeah.
And it's like,
good one.
Yeah, exactly.
Good one. I'm sorry, that just brought a memory up. Okay.
So I like to, I like to, start it off slow and then kind of build it up to some more faster music. But you can't just get there 3 hours for the game playing, tempo music, because you're gonna be so wore out that when the game comes, you're gonna be like, "Whew, I'm tired, man. I need something to slow me down." So I don't like to listen. I like to listen to stuff like that, Phil Collins. I don't think I'll listen to Maxwell, but
I have a friend that listens to Maxwell.
Yeah, that's more for a date, not like getting.
He just likes to be calm before the games. It's really weird.
I think he just likes Maxwell.
Yeah,
maybe.
That's very, very, very true. Very, very true. So, anyways, we're getting the wrap it up music there. So, anyways, just real quick, I know that you have some business adventures going on outside of the league. What are you doing to kind of build the whole Marcus Cromartie brand?
I'm just trying to get out in the community. I love to get back to the kids. I'm trying to start my own foundation. Haven't gotten to it just yet, but it's definitely coming. And it's one of those things where I definitely want to give back to women with breast cancer, because it's something that's on my table, and I have dealt with that within my family. So I'm going to definitely give back to that cause, and it's always about helping the kids, man. I love the kids, so just be lookout for my foundation coming soon.
Marcus's foundation, he loves the kids. Now, you know what the kids are going to love? This game that we call Rapid Fire. You only got 60 seconds, okay?
60 seconds.
Brittany is timing you right now with her invisible stopwatch.
Yes.
Okay.
And you got 60 seconds to answer 10 questions. On your marks, get set. All right, what is your guilty pleasure?
Oh, candy.
Candy. If a movie were made about you, who would play you?
Oh, Denzel.
Okay, no comment. Greatest advice you ever been told?
To control the controllables.
All right. If you have a freebie illegal hit on any player in the league, who would it be?
That's a good one.
Peyton Manning.
Oh, disrespectful.
Going for the old guys.
You go for one of the greatest, as I see it.
And you went for it. All right. The greatest DB of all time.
Deion Sanders.
Prime time. Greatest song of all time.
Ooh, that's a good one. Bob Marley, Don't Worry, Be Happy.
Don't worry, be happy.
It's his birthday today, too.
Oh, happy birthday, Bob Marley. All right, your celebrity crush.
Rihanna.
Good one. One thing about you no one would know?
That I'm from New Orleans. I don't think many people know that. People see me as a Dallas product, but I'm from New Orleans.
Okay, last line, best pickup line.
My name is Marcus. Nice to meet you.
I'm sure that works on the ladies all the time. I'm Kevin John. It was great to meet you guys. You can find me at @HeyKevinJohn on Twitter or Instagram. Next to me,
Miss Brittany Johnson. You can follow me at I Am Britt Johnson on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
And Marcus, where can your fans follow you at?
Follow me, Cromartie_M on all social platforms.
All right, there you go. All social platforms. And he loves the kids. And he's Marcus.
And go Cowboys.
Whatever. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is The Branded Athlete. We will see you guys next week, Friday, 5 p.m. Have a good one.
From producers Maria Menounos, Dario Kristen, Tiana Hobson, Kevin Undergaro, and the entire BHL crew, we would like to thank you for supporting Black Hollywood Live, the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. For questions and comments, contact us at info@blackhollywoodlive.com. Like us on Facebook, tweet us or Instagram us at BHL Online. And I'm your BHL announcer, Scipio. Instagram me at Planet Scipio. Thank you for tuning in.
Hollywood Redefined.
Hollywood Redefined.
The views expressed here are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of BHL or its owners or principals.